Hello and welcome to the Money Show, your daily guide to the world of personal finance. Money is changing the way we earn, it is changing the way we spend, it is changing, and increasingly the way we invest, it is also changing. From seasoned investors, from seasoned investor looking to fine-tune their portfolios to young professionals making their first investment, the questions are surprisingly similar. Where should my money go? How much risk should I take? And am I actually making the right financial choices? Today, investing is no longer limited to a select few who understand complicated market jargons, but with technology putting markets at our fingertips and more people are taking charge of their financial future. But easier access doesn't always mean better decisions, because whether you are making your first investment, building a diversified portfolio, planning for retirement, or simply trying to make your saving work harder, every financial decision comes with a question of risk, return, and timing. So what does it really take to become a smart investor? Because after all, personal finance is not about how much you earn, it's also about what you do with what you have. So to answer all your questions, we have experts in The Money Show, and the QR code is also flashing on your screen. You can just scan this QR code and you can send your portfolio, you can send your queries. Your queries will be answered by industry experts. So QR code is flashing on your screen. Get the best expert advice from experts of the industry. So moving on, today's major highlight: SIP inflow remains robust near 32,000 crore mark. Mutual fund AUM also rose to 85 lakh crore in July, while equity AUM climbed to around 38 lakh crore. Small cap fund led a category followed by the mid cap fund, while liquid funds saw a sharp turnaround. To discuss more today's MFI number and the trend in mutual fund industry, you can see on your screen. Small cap fund has jumped nearly 39% in July. So discuss today's MFI data. I'm joined by a very special guest, Deviprasad Nair, Chief Business Officer at Helios AMC. Thank you so much, Deviprasad sir. Sir, so your first reaction, today's MFI data, do you agree with my personal thought that overall equity inflow is moderating in July, and people are now more shifting toward the debt funds?
No, I don't actually agree. See, it's one of the month. It's one of month. You have seen, the gross inflows, while going up, but redemptions have been there. But in my view, I think it's just, uh, a very little amount of negative, from month on month basis. If you look at, this month, it's been about 24 odd thousand crores, and last month it was about 28,000 odd crore net sales. But my view is that equity remains robust right now. You see, equity remains robust in terms of inflow. And what else can be a bigger indicator than seeing small cap topping the chart in terms of net flows, and followed by mid cap and the flexi cap? These are the three, and large cap giving or paving way for mid and small caps in terms of the net sales, where large cap has been negative. So I think, flows are, constant and consistent, in fact, on the equity side. And we have seen, in fact, in our fund house also, very encouraging participation coming in from the equity investors. Yes.
Encouraging participation from equity investors, but
Yes.
39% jump in small cap fund means, how should one read that 39% jump in small cap fund? Do you think that investors are thinking that, okay, because generally we advise that, okay, if you want to invest in a small cap fund, if your time horizon should be 5, 10 years or 15 years, then only you should go for a small cap fund because risk is there and return is also there. So can we make some inference that, okay, now investors are thinking that, okay, for 5, 8, 10 years, we should invest in small cap fund because large cap and mid cap won't give much return in next 2, 4 years.
See, clearly, if you see, while obviously large cap hasn't done well for some time, and that sort of has impacted the investor tilt towards mid and small cap, because ultimately there the investors in India have become matured, month by month, year by year, year after year. You can see that through the consistent SIP flows which has been coming in. So the maturity levels have gone up in investors considerably, and in fact on the distribution side also. And I think, in my view, investors know the risk; they are aware of the risk which they are taking. And second thing is, you look at the number of companies also which are from the small and mid cap universe, which are from the differentiated businesses, right? I think, which we believe, or the market believes, or the investors believe, would pave way for the next leg of growth in the country, or the economy. I think, clearly, hints towards the shift in investor behavior towards mid and small cap. In our opinion, also, I think we believe that companies in the mid and small cap space, are they look very attractive. In fact, what else? I mean, you look at the earnings numbers also in the past 2 quarters. I think those have been also very encouraging, and that I think would be the reason why we've been seeing inflows going up in small and mid cap space.
Sir, July numbers, Devi Prasad sir, July numbers suggest that investors are shifting from return seeking to a balanced approach. Uh, can one takeaway of July MF data is also this?
Look, see, the balanced approach is basically categories like BAF and multi-asset. I haven't seen much of a growth in net sales coming in there, right? Liquid obviously is there, that's largely driven by the corporate treasury numbers. So I would reserve my comment on that how much of that is retail. We'll have to get into that in detail. But equity, it's, tad bit of, negative growth from in net sales from month on month. That's largely to do with large cap becoming negative. So yeah, so I don't see that there is any discomfort or shift which is happening in terms of money moving from risk assets to conservative asset class right now.
Okay, sir, my next question to you, sir, what would be your advice for those investors who want to start their equity investment journey, want to start their mutual fund investment journey? So how should they proceed in July 2026 when they can check that in last 2 years, those who just in 2024 July, those who started haven't got much return?
See, I think these are the periods. These periods, these are period of pessimism in the equity markets. Over long run, equities have delivered. I think people should keep that in mind, that over long period, which is 1 or 2 market cycle, equity tends to deliver, right? Because it sort of captures the economic activity and the growth which is happening in the economy. So, in my opinion, investors who's coming right now, I think it's a good time to invest in equity, or from a long term perspective. And if they want to sort of play very safe, they can choose the options of STPs and SIPs. I think that's the safest way to invest in equity, and use safest the safest equity funds, right? I mean, large cap is one of the category, but more than that, I think flexi cap, which are true to label flexi caps, where they move between the large, mid, and small cap on a consistent basis, I think would be a good choice to start their SIP and STPs in the equity space.
Okay, good choice to start the SIPs in equity space. Thank you so much, sir, for taking your time out on ET Now today and sharing your insights. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. Thank you so much. Thanks.
So now time for a short break, but don't go anywhere. After the break, we'll be discussing about IPOs, how you should invest in IPOs and which are the IPOs in the pipeline. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break.